Well, when I was in high school, my dad was investing in gold bars, and in a business relationship, one of his business partners knew the king of Zululand, and he was coming to the United States for his wedding, or for his honeymoon, and he and his entourage ended up staying with my family in Southern California. And so we had the king, the queen, the prime minister, and all of these people. And it was this crazy, eccentric moment of my life. I went into math class the day that the king came, and I told my teacher, I can't take the test today because I'm going to Disneyland with the king of Zululand. And she said, that must be true because nobody would make that up. I mean, it was funny because it was actually his second marriage, so my parents were trying really hard for us to not really know what was really going on, because it was a polygamous society, and so that was one of the funny parts of the whole experience. I think it was interesting because, you know, the Zulus, the concept of valor was very important, and there was a moment when we were at Disneyland where they had told us, the prime minister had told us that there was no word for fear in the Zulu language. And so we all got on Space Mountain together, and we heard the prime minister screaming at the top of his lungs. And then when we finished at Space Mountain, you know, my father asked about that, and the prime minister said, well, that wasn't fear, that it wasn't fear, that he had concern for the king, and when he could not see the king, he expressed his concern until he could see him again. And my father ended up saying, well, I see why you don't have the word for fear in the Zulu language, because you just turned fear into valor. So that was one of my memorable moments with the king of Zululand.